This is what I'm hearing, Tash. This is how people really within the royal family feel about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle.
This is not the first time, Dan, that we've heard Harry going MIA.
When a prince vanishes for 3 days without a single word, the world notices. But when that same prince, once the darling of a modern fairy tale, won't even take his own wife's calls, people stop whispering and start wondering, is the marriage already over? Prince Harry has done it again, gone completely dark. No texts, no calls, no Instagram stories, not even a pre-rehearsed PR release to soften the blow. Just gone. And the kicker? Meghan Markle was left out of the loop, completely. Not a clue where he was. Not a word from Botswana, not even a crumb of communication. For a couple who supposedly spends every moment together, that silence was deafening. He wasn't with royal advisors or palace security. He wasn't even on some scheduled humanitarian trip. Harry was in Botswana, completely off-grid, and reportedly with a woman named TJ Evans, a woman labeled by some as a mother figure. But that label is already raising eyebrows. Sources close to the royal family are quietly asking why this mother figure seems to keep popping up in these bizarre moments. Why her? Why now? Why not Meghan? This isn't new behavior. In fact, it's starting to look like a pattern. Over the past year alone, Harry has had multiple episodes where he just goes missing, vanishing into a hotel, taking solo trips, and dodging calls from his own wife. Rumors of emotional distance have been bubbling for a while now, and with every disappearance, the tension gets harder to ignore. Some sources have even said Harry checked into luxury hotels without informing Meghan, using the excuse that he just needed space. And now, with this trip to Botswana, he didn't just need space. He took it, unannounced and unbothered. This latest vanishing act didn't happen in a vacuum either. Came at a time when the Sussex empire is collapsing. The Netflix deal? Gone. Their Spotify show? Cancelled. Meghan's jam and jelly brand? Fizzled out. Even her relaunch into Hollywood has been greeted with more eye rolls than excitement. So when Harry disappears and Meghan can't reach him, the assumption isn't he's soul-searching. No, it's he's done. Maybe not officially, but emotionally, mentally, he's packing up in his own way. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get worse, Radar Online dropped a bombshell. Their headline didn't mince words. Prince Harry was returning to the UK with a begging bowl. Yes, a prince, once the golden boy of a nation, now portrayed as broke, desperate, and begging his father for financial help. Inside sources said it bluntly. The Sussexes are on the grift again and not very good at it. Royal insiders didn't try to sugarcoat the truth. They see Meghan and Harry as con artists, hustling their way through failed media deals and a lifestyle they can't afford. The irony? Harry and Meghan used to accuse the royal family of financial control and manipulation, but now they're the ones allegedly crawling back, hoping King Charles will toss them a lifeline. But Charles isn't a fool. His sympathies have limits, and the idea of bankrolling two people who publicly humiliated him on Oprah and Netflix? That's not just distasteful, it's dangerous. As one royal aide reportedly put it, he's not coming for closure, he's coming for cash. All those whispers about peace talks and diary schedule arrangements? Total spin. What really seems to be happening is a desperate attempt to hold on to relevance, reputation, and revenue. Harry's team reaching out to Charles wasn't an act of family healing. It was a calculated move to plug the financial holes springing up all over their Montecito fantasy. And while Harry's busy ducking calls and planting rumors of reconciliation, Meghan is watching a different disaster unfold. Jessica Mulroney, Meghan's former best friend and social climbing gateway, just had her marriage fall apart. This was the woman who helped Meghan scale Canada's elite circles, the woman whose daughter was part of the royal wedding. And now, she's just another name Meghan cut loose. The way their friendship ended was already ugly. After Jessica got caught up in a social media controversy during the height of the BLM movement, Meghan ghosted her. No defense, no second chances. Just exile, public, swift, and cold. Now Jessica's life is crumbling and Meghan reportedly is paying close attention. Not out of concern, but calculation. Why? Because according to whispers in Hollywood and publishing circles, Meghan has been shopping around for a divorce book deal. Let that sink in. She's allegedly gauging how much she could make by spilling the details of her royal marriage in a tell-all post-divorce bombshell. The timing of Jessica's divorce, Harry's disappearance, and Meghan's silence all line up a little too neatly. It paints a picture that's hard to ignore. Meghan, watching her ex-best friend's downfall as a possible blueprint, not to support her but to study the fallout. If Meghan is indeed planning her exit, she won't leave empty-handed. She'll leave with cameras, publishers, and a whole new PR strategy. Because if there's one thing she's proven time and again, it's that she always plans 10 steps ahead. And while Meghan may be focused on what a divorce could do for her brand, Harry might be playing a darker game altogether. Recently, he dropped cryptic hints suggesting he had enough material for a second memoir, maybe even a third. He told the press that some of what he discovered during his legal battles was so damaging, it would shock the public. That's not subtle. That's a warning shot. It raises one terrifying possibility. Is Prince Harry threatening the royal family with more bombshells? Could this be blackmail in disguise? Tash, a royal commentator, certainly thinks so. She believes these thinly veiled threats are calculated, part of a pressure campaign to get what they want: money, access, attention. Meghan has done the same. She cloaks her threats in vague, poetic language, hinting she'll speak her truth if she's pushed too far. And now, with the money running low, the contracts drying up, and the walls closing in, their desperation is starting to show. They've thrown every stone they could at the royal family while they were on top. Now, cornered and cash-strapped, what's stopping them from going even further? Look at their past behavior. When they had the support of Hollywood, they aired every dirty laundry they had. So what happens when they're out of options? What happens when the Montecito mansion payments are due and the jet bills pile up? You better believe they'll do whatever it takes to survive. The Netflix deal, once their crowning jewel, is now in shambles. Meghan once claimed they had so many exciting projects on the slate, but none of them materialized. She promised stories that would make people feel something. And she was right, those projects made people feel bored, annoyed, even nauseous. She bragged about upcoming series, documentaries, and feel-good content, but none of it ever happened. The only thing that hit was the documentary where they trashed the royals. Everything else? Fluff and failure. Her show, Live to Lead, put people to sleep. Her personal brand with Love Meghan turned into a joke. Her jam and jelly line? A tiny drop in a very big ocean of celebrity products that no one asked for. And then there's the Meet Me at the Lake fiasco. Meghan and Harry allegedly convinced Netflix to pay over $3 million to license a book they had no plan to produce. No director, no producer, just a promise. And now that money is sitting in limbo while Netflix counts the cost. Even Meghan's fashion brand, American Riviera Orchard, is a mess. The name changes, the inconsistent branding, the unclear launch dates. It all reeks of confusion. One day it's jam, the next it's dog biscuits. Then she's talking about a clothing line. The next week, she's radio silent again. Critics have started calling her Manic Meghan. Not because of mental health, but because of how erratic her career moves are. She never finishes anything. She jumps from project to project, chasing whatever gives her the most press at the moment. It's not about passion or purpose, it's about headlines. She thrives on the burst of attention. A new launch means a new magazine cover. A new idea means another photo shoot. But once the cameras go away, so does the commitment. It's a cycle, a constant craving for spotlight with no substance behind it. And when someone challenges her narrative, like Emma Grede did in a recent interview, you can see the mask slip. Her smile fades, her jaw locks, her voice sharpens. Emma asked about the Netflix deal and Meghan's plans to promote it. Meghan's response? I'm not comfortable answering that. Translation, don't expose me. Don't poke the bubble I've built. 'Cause deep down, Meghan isn't a builder. She's a brand. A brand that needs cameras, scripts, and applause to feel real. But that applause is fading. And fast. The Meghan and Harry we see now aren't the confident, outspoken couple from their Oprah days. They're scrambling. They're grasping. And they're increasingly relying on drama, mystery, and veiled threats to stay relevant. Whether it's Harry disappearing for 3 days, Meghan ghosting old friends, or rumors of secret book deals and blackmail, it all paints a picture of two people who are losing control. And when control slips away, that's when the real chaos begins. 'Cause if this is how they act when the spotlight dims, imagine what they'll do to turn it back on. Because here's the thing, Meghan and Harry's game isn't new. It's just wearing thin. Every few months, the same cycle plays out like clockwork. A scandal breaks, Harry disappears, Meghan goes silent, the headlines scream divorce. Then suddenly, like a magician pulling a rabbit out of a hat, they reemerge, smiling, holding hands, wearing coordinated outfits on the red carpet. And every time their fans cry, see? They're fine. They're still together. But for how long can they keep pulling that trick? Remember Colombia? That surprise trip just when headlines hinted at a split? Paparazzi coincidentally caught them being all loved up, kissing, cuddling, playing the happy couple for every lens in sight. Then came the Invictus Games. Meghan appeared on stage, hand in hand with Harry, beaming and glowing like the first lady of a country that only exists in her mind. It was all carefully staged, a choreographed display of unity meant to shut down the whispers. But this time, it's different. There's a stillness in the air. Meghan hasn't posted in weeks. No Spotify specials, no podcast teasers, no new project announcements. For someone who thrives on noise, her silence is telling. Insiders are already speculating this isn't just a PR regroup. This could be the quiet before a storm. Kind of storm where Meghan pulls the ultimate pivot. Some believe she's preparing a reinvention arc, a solo renaissance story. She's reportedly exploring her own media ventures without Harry, setting up new branding around wellness, female empowerment, and American entrepreneurship. The Whisper campaign has already begun. Friends of sources close to the Duchess have started softly separating her from Harry's controversies, positioning her as a woman misunderstood, but ready to rise. They want the public to see her as the phoenix, a victim of betrayal held back by a broken prince, someone who tried to save a man drowning in royal trauma, but eventually had to save herself. It's the kind of narrative that plays well in Hollywood, sells books, lands Netflix docuseries. And if the rumors are true about her team pitching a post-divorce tell-all, this could be Meghan's most calculated move yet. And that's what should terrify the royal family. Because if Meghan walks away, she's not going quietly. She will weaponize every photo, every conversation, every memory that can be repackaged for sympathy or scandal. She's done it before. Just ask her father. Just ask Jessica. Just ask the entire British press who once sang her praises. And Harry? He'll be left with nothing but the fallout. 'Cause the truth is, Harry has burned his bridges. He can't go back to the royal family. Not fully. Not after the Oprah interview, the Netflix docuseries, the memoir, the lawsuits. His family may smile in public, but insiders say trust is shattered. Some believe William is done, completely. Others claim Charles is emotionally exhausted, watching his youngest spiral further into chaos while the monarchy tries to hold the line. And now, with these subtle threats about a second memoir, Spare 2.0 as he hinted, Harry is lighting a match under every remaining tie he has to the institution. In court documents, he even said he discovered evidence so damaging, so shocking it would devastate the monarchy if released. That's not a footnote, that's a threat. One carefully planted in the press to remind the royals, pay up or the vault gets opened. It's blackmail by press release. And Meghan is no stranger to that strategy. Take her infamous Cut magazine interview just weeks before Queen Elizabeth passed. In it, she hinted that she could say more, that she chose not to speak, but that she could. The phrasing was vague, intentionally so. A verbal wink to those listening closely. A way of saying there's more. And if you push me, I'll release it. Now, they're using the same playbook. Float the idea of reconciliation. Let the media run with it. Leak stories about private conversations with the king. And when that doesn't work, subtly remind the world that they still have unpublished receipts. It's a dangerous game, because eventually people stop listening, they stop caring, and the media, so eager for fresh meat, begins to turn. That's exactly what's happening now. Look around. Even Meghan's most reliable press allies are backing away. The New York Times, cold. People magazine, silent. Vogue, focused on other faces. The media tide is shifting, and when the PR gods turn their backs, the fall is fast. Netflix insiders have reportedly grown tired of the drama, the failed projects, the missed deadlines, the broken promises. Meghan's claims of creative direction were met with eye rolls. Her slate of exciting ideas never came, and her so-called documentary about successful women? A flop. No sizzle, no edge, no audience. Ted Sarandos, who many say was the Sussexes' biggest advocate at Netflix, is said to be distancing himself. The $3 million spent on Meet Me at the Lake? Sitting idle. No movement, no development, no faith. Even Meghan's attempt to launch American Riviera Orchard ended in confusion. A name change, a delayed launch, a product line that felt more like a college marketing project than a serious luxury brand. Tiny batches of jam, no inventory restocks, a random gift basket sent to friends and influencers who barely posted about it. The truth is, Meghan Markle doesn't want to work. She wants to be celebrated. There's a difference, and people are finally starting to see it. Unlike the Kardashians, who hustle nonstop, Meghan floats from one project to another without any consistency. She announces a blog, then disappears, launches a podcast, then ghosts it, teases clothing lines, then pivots to dog biscuits. It's manic, unfocused, and increasingly irrelevant. Public is catching on. Social media sentiment has turned harsh. Reddit threads dissect every contradiction. YouTube creators mock every press release. Twitter, now X, is a battlefield where Meghan defenders are vastly outnumbered. Even former fans are starting to ask the hard questions. What does she actually do? Why doesn't anything ever get finished? And behind the scenes, those questions are even louder. Hollywood executives don't want chaos. They want reliability, results, profit. Meghan is now seen as risky, Harry even more so. He brings paparazzi, lawsuits, tabloid wars, and not much else. And that's why their money is running out. The Montecito mansion is expensive. The staff, the security, the flights, private schools, the lifestyle. None of it is sustainable without a massive cash infusion. And with no active deals, no working products, and no functioning brand, they're left with only one option: scandal. Kendall sells. It's how they got here in the first place. And when all else fails, they know one headline about royal betrayal will bring the spotlight back. But what happens when even scandal doesn't pay the bills? What happens when the royal family stops responding? When Netflix stops answering emails? When public sympathy dries up? We may be watching it in real time, the slow-motion unraveling of a brand built on bitterness and fairy tales. A couple who once had the world's attention, now struggling to stay in the news. Meghan may try another reinvention. She might relaunch the lifestyle blog, lean into female entrepreneurship, pose with goats and jam jars on Instagram. But without substance, it won't stick. And Harry? He may keep threatening more memoirs, more secrets, more drama. But each time he does, the world sees him less as a prince and more as a tabloid character in a story that just won't end. The magic is fading, and in its place, desperation, isolation, silence. Because when a man disappears for 3 days and won't take his wife's calls, the message isn't just loud, it's final. And no amount of PR spin, Instagram posts, or staged photo ops can undo what the public now believes. Something's broken, and it may be too late to fix it. And yet, even now, after the disappearing act, the divorce rumors, the begging bowl headlines, and the media silence, there are still whispers that Meghan and Harry believe they can turn it around. That one last pivot, one last play could put them back on top. That's the part that stings the most, because it proves that even now, they don't quite get it. They still believe this is just another chapter in their underdog story, that the public still cares. But they miscalculated. Again, this isn't 2020. The world has changed. The audience has changed. The royal family, silent, stoic, and strategically detached, has changed. And most importantly, the illusion is gone. For years, they sold themselves as victims. Victims of racism, of tradition, of tabloids, of an institution too old to change. And for a moment, they had the world in the palm of their hand. For interviews, Spotify exclusives, Netflix documentaries, fashion deals, Vanity Fair covers, everything. But the victim card has an expiration date, especially when your lifestyle contradicts your message, especially when you preach about mental health while burning every bridge, especially when you accuse your family of cruelty while cashing in on their titles, especially when the receipts just don't add up. And now, as the dust settles and the stories dry up, there's an eerie stillness around Meghan and Harry. It's not the calm before a comeback. It's the silence of a brand running on fumes. The silence of two people realizing they may have played their final hand. What makes it all so tragic is that it didn't have to be this way. They had a platform, a global spotlight, a fresh start. They could have done something real, something lasting. Instead, they chose spectacle, revenge, the long road of victimhood and veiled threats. And now, the audience that once leaned in, they're walking away. Even the die-hard fans, the ones who defended every misstep, are starting to pause, question, to admit quietly that maybe the criticism isn't all hate, that maybe, just maybe, the people calling this a PR house of cards were right all along. Harry and Meghan didn't just lose public sympathy, they lost the benefit of the doubt. And without that, the machine stops. No public goodwill, no high-end endorsements, no studio executives clamoring for pitches, no tech giants begging for exclusives. Just two people in a mansion built on borrowed time, whispering to each other that it's going to be fine while everything crumbles around them. 'Cause eventually every performance ends. The lights dim, the audience files out, and the actors, still in costume, are left standing on a stage built on broken promises and empty applause. Harry disappearing for 3 days wasn't just a personal crisis, it was a symptom of something bigger. A relationship on edge, a brand imploding, a man no longer sure where he belongs, and a woman scrambling to stay relevant. And now, as the world watches this slow unraveling, one truth becomes crystal clear. They didn't leave the palace to find freedom. They left it to lose themselves.